Yeah.
Our first topic of the day is brought to us by FanDuel as the weather gets colder. The NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is simple to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. FanDuel. And shout out to our guy Joshua Heisler, who turned $5 into $65 for having a Jake Browning, Trevor Lawrence combined for 600 passing yards last night, which hit at 12-1 odds. So shout out to Josh. If you have a winning FanDuel ticket, make sure you guys send it to me. Let's get into it, guys.
By the way,
wait, Mike, because we always talk about the wins, right?
Yeah.
I'm a FanDuel guy. I play all the time. I've been missing Jay Bull one leg, man.
Yeah, that's what
By
makes
one
it hard.
leg, like the last 3 or 4, I show Anthony every morning.
So how many legs are you typically betting?
Anywhere 5 to 8.
Okay, go 4.
Go
4 and you're winning.
Going 4.
Lock in your best 4.
Yeah, I got to.
And you'll win.
Brandon,
your winnings won't be as big.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You got to cover your losses.
By the way, the Browns open, I believe, as a 3.5-point dog in this game.
Wow.
The spread is now Browns favored by 1.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, open. When you said open, I thought you meant this morning.
No. It opened
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And now they're a 1.5-point favorite, so Vegas is assuming that Trevor Lawrence is not going to play.
That makes sense to me. I like that.
And Flacco
That's
is.
the difference. I mean, you tell yesterday you say who's going to win, Browns Jaguars? I would have said Jaguars.
1,000%.
Today I'm saying Browns.
In fact, on our first topic,
yeah,
I've actually changed my answer because of what happened in last night's game.
Let's get right to it.
When I first saw that question, my answer wasn't a good one for Browns fans.
I'll ask the question. You guys can answer whatever you want. Call your shot. Will the Browns be, in the AFC playoffs when all is said and done? They're currently the 7 seed.
They will now. Yeah, they will now.
You got it.
They will now. And I think because I think they're going to beat Jacksonville, all this is predicated on Lawrence not playing.
Right.
If he surprises us and plays, I may change my pick. Right now, without Lawrence, I would pick the Browns at home, and that would be, in my calculation, the swing game that puts them from 9-8, which is where I predicted they would be when the season started, to 10-7, and they're in at 10-7.
So what? You got them losing to Cincinnati, beating the Jets and Bears?
I have them losing to Cincinnati.
Oh wow!
After what I saw yesterday out of Browning, I mean, if provided that he can play anywhere, he's not going to play at that level. If he can play anywhere near that level, and the game is in Cincinnati, and I think it's going to be a meaningful game for the Bengals. I really do.
That's going to be interesting.
It is,
but
it's going to be interesting.
So 10, I think 10 is going to be enough to get him in after looking at some.
Do you think there'll be a 10-win team that doesn't get in?
Based on my, I went to do my answer. I did schedule game.
Yeah,
and I had actually the 7 seed being 9-8.
Interesting.
That doesn't mean I'm going to be right.
No, but that's interesting.
What do you got, Earl?
I think the Browns make the playoffs. I think this is a team that's proven all season that they can beat any team in the NFL. The problem is we just need all components moving in the right direction at the right time, right? We finally get serviceable quarterback play, and then the defense, goes out here and take a crap, right? If we could get all 3 units playing well, at the same time as we get closer to the end of the season, then there's no question in my mind that we can't make the playoffs. And why? Because of that dude right there on the screen.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Joe Flacco, like he succeeded every expectation that I had set for him Sunday against the Rams, right?
Yeah.
I was one of the people who said I felt like it was the best overall performance from a quarterback this season. All stats aside, it was just little nuances inside the game that made me believe that. And I have no reason but to believe he's going to get better with each practice, each rep that he gets.
Like Browning
understanding. Right, more understanding of the playbook. He showed that he was a savvy veteran. He showed the elite arm strength. Hell yeah, the Browns can make the playoffs. And then they've gotten some help, right? You look across the AFC landscape, I think Kansas City, Miami, and Baltimore are the only teams ahead of us that still got their starting quarterback. So it's still wide open for the Cleveland Browns to be able to make some noise.
You know what's funny to me, and I don't disagree with you, but if we would have known in August that after 12 games, we would sit on this show and say, hell yeah, the Browns can make the playoffs because of that guy right there, Joe Flacco. Didn't have that on our bingo card at all, and here we are.
Well, I mean, I went through, there's a lot of this season has been like, how did this happen? I couldn't have predicted this.
Do you have them in?
And I do have them in, even before the Jacksonville game. And now I think they have a good chance to win 11 now. Now I got them between 10 and 11. I think 10 will be enough. I look at I went through the schedules of all the teams that are 6-6 and 7-5 and played the schedule game for what it's worth.
Right.
Now, I think the Browns.
Do we have the easiest schedule?
One of the hardest.
No, they do not.
You can't have one of the hardest.
No,
the Jets.
I seen it this morning. It's like I think of all the teams that's remaining that's valuing for the last playoff spot, it's like 37% strength of schedule, something like that, of all the teams. I seen the stat when they were talking about the Bengals game.
Browns have the hardest schedule?
Browns is up there. It's like the Browns and the Steelers are the top two.
Wow. Yeah, I think the easiest.
Well, I mean, look, the Bengals now are 500.
I think you have it backwards, or I think that's
you got
it might have been. Yeah, it was
you got it
37%.
reversed.
Yeah, because I when I look at their schedule, I'm like, that's got to be one of the easiest.
You see, I think the team I think is going to – so when I did my calculations, I didn't figure out the tiebreakers for the 7 seed, so that could be anybody. But I have 2 teams getting to double-digit wins of all of the teams with 6 and 7 wins, which is Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Houston, Indy,
Cincinnati.
Cincy, Buffalo, Denver. So that's, 8 teams that are 7-5 or 6-6. I have 2 of them getting to 10 wins. Now, to be fair, I did this before the Bengals played last night, so I'd have to think about the Bengals again.
Right.
I still think they're going to fall short and finish 9-8. But 7 teams? You don't have Cincinnati on the list. Oh,
no, that's the current playoff seeding.
Sorry,
just so we're all on the same page.
So I have Houston actually finishing in the 5 spot. Look at their schedule. They play the Titans twice. And they got their best opponent. They got at home. I can't remember what it is off air. But
the Texans' remaining schedule is at the Jets this week, at Tennessee, at home versus Cleveland, at home versus Tennessee, then at Indy, which could be a playoff eliminator.
Yeah, I mean, I think Houston's winning at least 3, maybe 4 of their final 5 games. I think they're honestly right now, if you look at those 8 teams, I think Houston's the best.
Do you know Houston? They showed this graphic in the at the end of their game.
Yeah,
Houston's had 4 losses that have come either as time expired or in the last minute.
Yeah.
Look at where they would be if you give them half of those wins.
They've been great, and their quarterback's playing great. So I got Houston as the 5 seed. I got the Browns as the 6, finishing 10 and 7. And then the 7 seed, I got the Bengals, the Bills, the Steelers, the Colts. I think all tied at 9-8, so I didn't figure out the tiebreaker for the 7th seed. But
man, this conference is tough.
It is tough.
It's
Although
tough.
I look at honestly
beating each other.
Yeah, they really are.
Nobody looks the teams that look the best right now in the AFC are Kansas City and Miami and Baltimore. Really, Baltimore outside of the Browns game, the Baltimore's played great.
You know what's interesting though? It's hard sometimes to figure out when we just take the North; they're all above 500.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to figure out. Is that because they're all really good? Maybe they're all really mediocre. I mean, I don't know. They're beating each other.
Yeah.
The North is beating each other, and I think everybody's going to go 1-1 if the Browns lose to the Bengals at the end.
Bengals got swept by the Ravens.
Oh, they did get swept by Baltimore.
And the Bengals are actually 0-4 in the division.
Are they really?
Yep.
So they lost to Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Pittsburgh once. They got Pittsburgh again.
Ooh, wow.
They lost twice
Lost
to the Ravens.
Browns.
So 4 of their 6 losses have come in the North.
Yeah.
That might tend.
That's why
I think it's really good, not mediocre.
It's funny you said that. So when I was on the radio Sunday, I always do my upset of the week. And this week I had the Cardinals upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now everybody know the Cardinals is not a good football team, but to me they look better once Kyler Murray got back under center.
Sure, yeah.
And so it's just weird when you look at this dynamic of, let's take the North for example, right? The Steelers beat the Rams, we lose to the Rams. We beat the Cardinals, they lose to the Cardinals. It's like every week in this AFC and the AFC North, anybody can get got.
It's hard to predict.
It really is.
Anybody can get got any week.
I think that it's safe to say we've seen a lot of surprises so far, and you can project there will be a lot more surprises moving forward.
It wouldn't obviously we all are much more optimistic about the Browns beating Jacksonville without assuming Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, but it would surprise anybody if the Jags won with C.J. Beathard in this game. It wouldn't surprise me.
I think if C.J. Beathard beats us, I'd be disappointed.
I'd be pissed off.
Of course you're going to be disappointed, but why would you be surprised with all we just talked about?
I can tell you why. I can tell you why.
Everything you've seen, you shouldn't be surprised.
Denzel Ward plays and Myles Garrett
but the
shows
Browns
a little
are not playing
improvement.
well right now.
If Jim Schwartz goes out here and loses to a quarterback I don't even know. He's been in the NFL 6 years, so it's not like he's a rookie. But
Yeah,
this
he's
is a
not
guy.
young.
This is not a guy that makes a lot of noise, right?
Right.
I just got to believe that Jim Schwartz will be prepared to not let his defense, after the performance they put on last week, to lose to this dude.
You know what's tough, though? He may not know who's playing until Sunday morning.
guys,
that could be tough, too.
We were just talking about it. You can't be. The Browns are a 1-point favorite. You can't be surprised if they lose.
No,
you
I'd
might
be
be
disappointed.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But I can't be surprised by anything at this point.
No, but I would definitely be disappointed. Here's the thing. The league has come into what it's turned into this year is who's got the better backup quarterbacks. Yeah. There's one quarterback that's healthy in the North, starting quarterback.
That's it.
One,
and they're the best team.
and they're far and away running away with the division right
Yeah.
now. They got a 2-game cushion on everybody else.
C.J. Beathard is 2-10 in his career as a starter, by the way.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed if they lost to him.
Yeah, there's nothing.
He's competent. I'm not saying he's not competent. I'm just saying that. Look, I'm sure Jacksonville's disappointed this morning that they lost to Browning. They've got to be disappointed.
Of course, but they got it, but at this point, no result would surprise me with the Browns with any of their remaining games.
No.
Even if they lost to the Bears or Jets, it wouldn't surprise me. Even if they beat Houston, it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing would surprise
Nope,
me.
you're right. They could go 0-5 and they could go 5-0.
Yeah.
We talked about this on Behind the Glass last week, and I said that for me, after the Steelers game, right, we're 7-3, and I literally broke this thing down. I looked at the entire AFC and said, okay, it's so tight, it's tough in this conference. This is now a 7-game season. Well, duh. How can the Browns play in the last 7 games? To me, you got to go 5-2.
Well, they're already 0-2.
And I know that sounds crazy, but I think you have to go 5-2.
5-2 though gets you to 12 wins. 12
They don't need
wins.
to go 5-2.
12 wins in the AFC this year.
They're not winning 5 in a row. That's unlikely.
You don't think that? I think that they can do it. I think that, again, when you look at the AFC, right, I'm worried about Miami. I'm worried about Baltimore. I'm worried about Kansas City. When I look at our schedule, we should be able to beat these teams. And I'm not saying that they will.
They're saying the same thing about the Browns.
I'm just saying that when I look at this team, to me, this team is still good enough to accomplish all their goals, right?
No, well, they're not good enough to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they are, but they've just got to get healthy. They've got,
They just got to get there.
It was the same thing that I said before we picked last week. I said you've got to have 2 of the 3 between Walker, Garrett, and Ward. I said you're going to have 2 of the 3 back and playing like themselves. They didn't. Denzel Ward, to me, and we're going to talk about this coming up, so I don't want to go too into it here. But
We'll get to it in 1 sec, so.
We want to transition to it now? I mean, we can.
the
Denzel Ward, to me, is the big X factor for the Browns going forward.
Again, we talked about this last year with the ridiculous 6-0 conversation. The chance of any team, Baltimore, Philly, San Francisco, any team going 5-0 to end the season is slim. The chance of the Browns going 5-0 is like.
Well, no, I mean, they don't have to go 5-0. They played 2 games. I said from that game.
Well, they have to go 5-0.
Well, if you said they had to go 5-2 in the last 7, they're already 0-2.
Right.
So by your math,
you can't lose.
But I do think this: the path to the playoffs in the AFC got a lot muddier and a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because this past weekend, a lot of teams lost, and that helped the Browns dramatically.
If the Browns had to win 5 to make the playoffs, none of us would pick them to make the playoffs. Would you?
I wouldn't. Absolutely not. I mean, there's no way they're going to lose 1 or 2 of these games.
Of course they
at
are.
least.
That's just the way it is.
No, but that's okay.
I don't know.
If you go 3-2, you're 10-7.
What
And
do you
we've
think
said
the
all along it's a race to
chance
10.
the Browns go 5-0?
All right, so look, percentage chance that the Browns go 5-0.
Don't do it.
After seeing Joe Flacco, I took some of G. Bush's Kool-Aid.
Uh-oh. They ain't going 5-0, bro. They're not doing it.
The Browns is going 5-0.
No, you didn't do that.
Book it.
Percentage chance.
87%.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm going high. Browns is going 5-0.
You know, there's something about this chair. I don't know if it's Kool-Aid infused. I don't know if it comes up from the cushion. I'm not sure. But, bro, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out of your mind.
They ain't winning the last 5. I mean, did you watch them the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I did. But Joe Flacco has me like.
Let's not get carried away about
I'm going wacko for Flacco. I'm going wacko for Flacco.
You know you need to put that on a sweatshirt.
Hey, listen.
I got the Browns with a 3.7% chance of going 5-0.
No, man, I'm on that. I'm on
wow,
that Flacco
you're getting
pack.
really specific with the 0.7.
We on that Flacco pack.
I'd say
we
5%.
Going 5-0. 87%, man.
Mike, what's your percent?
87.
Why not?
To go 5-0.
Yeah.
5%.
Bro, that's why you're losing all your parlays.
Probably so.
You're going too heavy.
So.
Now the good thing is they don't need to go 5-0.
No,
that's the good thing.
I mean, 5-0, you get to 12 wins.
They don't need to go 5-0.
But you know what? Here's what's bad. you get to 12 wins, you're going on the road in this division.
Yeah.
You're going on the road to start the playoffs.
If they
with
went
12
5-0,
wins.
it's possible the Ravens would not get to 12 wins. But
do
it's
the math.
unlikely.
If the Ravens go 3-2 from here, they'd be tied.
Right.
So
I'm not sure what the tiebreaker would be.
I don't know either. But I mean, in that scenario, the Browns win out.
The Ravens
depends
do
on
have a
which
tricky
two games
schedule,
the Ravens would lose.
Listen, we've seen crazier things in the NFL. We seen Pittsburgh start off 11-0. Didn't they lose like they last 4 games of the season?
4 or 5.
So like those things happen.
You know what?
It's outside of his mind.
Maybe it's Baltimore's turn to lose their quarterback.
But here's the problem, Earl.
Go ahead.
That you're predicting this at a time where the Browns are playing their worst
football of the year.
Hey, that's what makes it even better if we do it.
If they complete this, FanDuel might pay you even though you didn't place a bet. They might just be like, we got to cut this guy a check.
I don't look ass if it don't happen because we're not playing good football. But if we somehow do it, I'm going to be like, I told you. But it's funny, though, before we move on, me and Mike was talking about it today. And he said, if the playoffs started today, we would have to travel to Baltimore. And I think me and him said, I'd rather play Baltimore right now today than go play Kansas City.
Kansas City doesn't scare me.
I don't think Baltimore scares me. Baltimore
they don't scare me.
Though.
I wouldn't want to go to Kansas City. Hey, how would this be for a storyline? The Browns go to Baltimore to play the Ravens in the playoffs with Joe Flacco at quarterback.
Ooh, and beat him.
That's a storyline.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if DTR is starting again before the end of the season.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Either because of injury or poor play.
Yeah.
No.
Because of
you got to pick one.
Because of poor play.
Oh shit.
Almost full. Hey, we're gonna move on to Denzel Ward.